Hey guys, quick disclaimer before we get onto the podcast. Jayden Suarez, our co-host, was a part of this podcast, but due to lag and connection issues, he was connecting and disconnecting throughout the podcast. So we weren't able to recover that footage from the platform we use. Once we got finished with the podcast, it couldn't render all the footage, and the footage that we did get back, it's not usable footage. His sound was like kind of disconnected from his voice, so it wasn't really synced. So it's not really usable, but we still kept the questions, or not the questions, but the answers in. There's going to be some notes throughout the video of the questions that he did ask. So sorry for the listeners, but Dylan does still answer the questions that he did ask. There's still going to be a few more archive podcasts after this. This is one of them. This is pre-dunk camp. So yeah, this is still going to be a valuable podcast. I hope you guys enjoy. Dylan, welcome to Beyond Bounds.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So most people do know who you are if you are watching this podcast. You do really well with your social media, and people would call you one of the prodigies for dunking, at least like people in like the category of like people like Hoop and Nate or Dom Dunks. Dom Dunks is a little more ahead in that, but yeah, it's like you're in that group. So tell us first about your stats, just like your vertical, your standing reach, your lifts, and the type of dunks that you've hit.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm 5'11", standing reach is 7'11 and a half, so pretty decent standing reach. As for lifts, power clean 225. Can't deep squat. Probably could if I really worked on it, but at the moment I'm just doing half squats and stuff, so I can half squat 345 to 365, around there. Trying to think of my other lifts. Bench like 195. Haven't done that in a minute. Deadlift, a bit over 300. Probably could do like 350. I want to max after dunk camp, but try not to do anything stupid right now since it's in like a couple weeks.
100%.
And yeah, vertical 41 and a half. Tested that last June at dunk camp. Touched 11.4. But it would have to be 11.5 now for me to get that. Since my standing reach went up an inch, so a little bit different. Haven't really tested since then. I've been pretty dead the last few months. Yeah, and then as for dunks, I've hit under both, East Bay off the backboard. I think hide and seek is, the one that most people really get excited for, even though it's, you don't really need to jump that high for that one. I was the first person
on that.
Yeah, definitely. I was the first person to do inverted scorpion over someone. As for other dunks, recently hit an inverter, kind of an inverter. I'm not a fan of calling that version of an East Bay an inverter just because an inverter off 1 foot is such a difficult and rare dunk, and so it kind of feels dumb that I wouldn't say easy, but like a not too complex 2 foot version could have the same name. It doesn't really feel fair. So I'd be in favor of changing that. But yeah, that was a cool one that I just recently hit for the first time.
Sick. Yeah, that's cool. And you plan on testing your vertical this dunk camp?
Probably not, honestly. It's not because I don't think I could PR, because I don't want to. It's just kind of the scheduling with the dunking and stuff is a little bit difficult. So I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm hearing that a lot of the pros aren't going to be dunking day one just because they're going to try to save their legs for the show, which my personal opinion is I wouldn't do that. I think day one is, the day to jump. That's when a lot of people, break PRs, hit new dunks and stuff like that. So I'm not a huge fan of that decision, but whatever. Spotlight will be more on me, I guess. So I guess that's kind of nice. So my goal is just to really go off on day one dunking wise, and I'm not really too worried about testing my vertical. I used to always test it at camp because I didn't have access to a Vertec or a Vert trainer at home, but now that I have one, it feels kind of like a waste to waste jumps that I could be spending on trying to make new dunks. So honestly, my personal thing with testing my vertical is like, it's just something like where I'm at right now is like nowhere like near where I'm going to be in the future. So it almost feels like a waste sometimes when I'm testing my vertical. Just because there's a skill to it, but it's like, if it's not like I'm about to hit like some monumental number, like 45, 47, 48 plus, it just feels like, why am I wasting my time? Like,
it's more like something you want to really like conserve. Like,
yeah,
say,
it is a skill, and spending time on Vertec jumps is very important because you do want to like get those like true maximal effort jumps instead of like the 85 to 95% that you get on like actual dunk attempts. But yeah, I probably won't test this camp. Just save
Yeah.
it.
It's probably a lot cooler too to say like you gained like a certain amount of inches in this many years anyway. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, it
totally.
makes
Yep.
sense. Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, just give us a quick like kind of nutshell from since you were 15, you hit your first
Well,
East Bay
actually,
to now.
I wanted to
Sorry, go ahead.
ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess since you're just focusing. Oh wow, Jayden just left. But I
He'll be
guess
back.
just because, just since you're focusing more on dunks in dunk camp, what new dunks are you thinking or are you trying to make?
Yeah, totally. Um, I mean, definitely, I want to get back to hitting some of those dunks that I hit when I was like at my best. And I'm not like it's not that I've been like injured or like out of the game or anything like that. I've just been super fatigued, just because that's kind of like what the training up to dunk camp is like. And then the month
Yeah,
leading up to it gets a bit better. And so getting some of those dunks back, like under both, East Bay off the backboard, some of those ones where I really need to be jumping, probably close to 43, I guess. I never really tested on some of those best days, which is kind of stupid. So ones like those. And as for new dunks, I mean, 360 scoop off a lob is feeling really doable. Back rimmed it quite a few times in the past few weeks. 540 off a lob is a cool one. Inverted scorpion, only been done by one person, Jordan. And so it'd be cool to be the second person to do that. One of the only people who can even, bend their body that way. So, I mean, you got a decent chance. Yeah, there's a few others like J Rich. I don't know, 360 East Bay. There's a ton of them. I'm like in a weird area of my dunk career right now where like I've got like all these cool dunks, but then like the next batch of them just feel like a few inches away. And once I get those few inches, I feel like, I'm just going to start unlocking like tons of stuff all at once. So it's kind of a weird stage right now. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me.
Yep.
So yeah, just give us a rundown from when you were 15, hitting your first beast day up until now, and how you're preparing for dunk camp for these next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go back a little bit more than that just to give people a little bit more context, because obviously East Bay at 15 is, not something that's too common, but
Yeah.
it makes a lot more
100%.
sense when you rewind to when I was like 10 or 11 years old, low rimming every single day. And so that's kind of what built the foundation. I was low rimming a ton when I was really young, like that. And then that built up to when I was 13, got my first dunk. 14, got like two-handers and stuff like that. And then early on, being 15, hit my first windmill. And that's after 13, I started training a little bit in the weight room, but nothing too structured, just kind of doing random things here and there, learning the movements, but nothing like a structured jump program or coaching thing, which is what I have now, thankfully. So yeah, fast forward up to 15, I hit my first East Bay 2 days before I turned 16. And around that time, I was talking with Tom, I almost just said Tom Young, Tom Barnes and Austin Young, who at the time were a part of Jump X. And they were just talking to me about training. And right after I hit my first East Bay, I got on with them. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to actually start doing the training until later in 2024, because I played my last basketball season, sophomore basketball, that winter, I'll say. So like November to, what is it, February or something like that. And that entire thing was really frustrating. It, really, I won't go like too into the, actual dynamic of basketball and stuff, but that season just made me lose my love for the game entirely. I was already on my way out, and that was just kind of like the last thing. I actually tried to play the year after, but I just, as soon as I started, I just remembered how much I hated it and just quit. So, yeah. So that, it's difficult to train during basketball season, so I didn't really get to do much then. But as soon as February came around and basketball was over, I got to really train hard for the first time with Jump X actually, in preparation for Dunk Camp 2024. So just a lot of training, moving up to Dunk Camp 2024 in Utah. And yeah, the week before, I, had finally like deloaded and all that, and I put my elbow in the rim on 9-10.5. So that was like really good sign. Had never done that before. Dunk Camp 2024, I already mentioned it, but tested a 41.5-inch vertical. Did pretty good in the sessions, hit like between the legs, windmills, reverse pumps, all that. You know, had like one of my better sessions at the time. And then the day after getting back from Utah, I got invited to my first dunk contest. And it was the day after, it was like 2 days after I got back. So horrible timing, but I went and did it anyway. And it was on a low rim, probably like 9.7 to 9.9 or something like that. So that gave me a bit more confidence. Took second place, so good experience building there. Fast forward a bit to August, I do Dunk Camp 2024 in Wisconsin, and that's where I really did good. Hit on day one, hit like East Bay, hit my first behind the back, along with some other good dunks. And then I'm trying to remember what else happened that camp. On day 4, I was sick, but I did the 9-foot contest and won that. So 2 years in a row winning the 9-foot contest. Probably should have just done the 10-foot. That was kind of dumb. But later that day, we had the dunk show. I was not jumping high at all, so I just started trying like ridiculous dunks I didn't think I was going to make. And on my first try, I made my first hide and seek. So I was the youngest person to do that. And I believe the second shortest as well. So that was crazy. You can see in the video. I'm pretty sure I shocked myself more than anyone else. But yeah, that was just ridiculous. So yeah, after that, 2 days after that, once again, I had another event. Again, horrible timing. Did my first solo dunk show. Fast forward a bit to September. I do another dunk contest, my first dunk contest win. I'm giving a real timeline here, I guess. But yeah, next dunk contest I did was in February. I guess I had my first under both a day before that, so that was kind of crazy. Had that session where I hit under both, East Bay off the backboard, elbow, stuff like that. That was February 14th, and then February 15th, had another dunk contest. Won that, got some Timberwolves tickets. That was cool. And then I'm trying to remember what month it was. What month is it right now? May, June?
June 1st.
Yeah, it was March, I believe. I got flown out for the first time to Maryland to do a dunk contest for the TBL, so that was a crazy experience. And yeah, that brings me to where I am today. Pretty fatigued, kind of dead, but finally kind of, unloading in the weight room, getting ready for Dunk Camp 2025 in Utah. So I'm excited for that. That's June
awesome,
16th, man. I believe, is day one.
Sick, dude. And what is it like to prepare for those contests, especially for one year you're getting flown out for like that? That was definitely huge for you, I imagine.
No, yeah. My one big thing with contests is that every time I do them, like when I'm in preparation or like thinking about it, even like the day of the event, because a lot of times it's like late in the day, like 7 to 9 p.m. Just like constantly stressed out, constantly doubting myself, just being like, oh my gosh, like I'm just gonna miss. Like,
why?
Because dunking is pretty simple, right? It's just like you make it or you miss it, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna miss. Then as soon as I get on the court, all that goes away because I'm just like, just go back to all the reps. Like I only do dunks that I know that I can do. And so that's my one big tip for dunk contests is dunk contests aren't necessarily who does the craziest dunk. It's whoever makes their dunks. So if you go out there and make all your dunks, you have a decent chance of winning no matter what your dunks were, because almost every contest I've done, there have been people that are better than me, but their planning is just horrible. And they end up missing dunks, even though they could have just done easier ones and beat me. And so that's the one thing I do well, is plan for them and have like planning sessions. So like before I do the contest, I go out and just try to do all the dunks that I want to do multiple times in a row. Yeah, just do easy dunks basically.
Yeah, I remember Isaiah mentioning something about doing dunks in like the worst possible conditions. Like if you can do those dunks in the worst possible conditions, like outside when it's raining on like a wet floor, and you can still do like an East Bay or something, like that's the dunk kind of you got to do.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Do you think that meta will change over time, like having to like with like kind of the scoring, like with the World Dunk Association and things like that? Do you think it'll change over time?
The World Dunk Association is great. I'm a big, advocate for them. I like what they're doing a lot, but I personally just don't see that happening in the near future. Just because, these smaller dunk contests, and for the crowd, like just to implement it, it's not quite ready to be implemented yet. I actually want to work on like some sort of like, AI grading system or something like that that just does it quickly. But at the moment, it's very manual and it's pretty difficult to implement. So yeah, like a lot of the contests I've done, especially the small ones, like they'll either just do like a crowd vote or like the 1 through 10 thing. And so yeah, but yes, if it does get implemented, which I hope it does, and I think it will eventually, some sort of objective scoring system anyway, I will say that it would definitely change. And I have prepared for contests like that. So when I do the Lorem contests at Dunk Camp, I'll be doing the 10-foot one this year. I always look at the scoring sheet and look at, the different things. So, for example, if you do a dunk upside down, which is an inverted scorpion, you get like plus 17 points, which is ridiculous. So, like, I always make sure to do something like that, and then it's basically an automatic win, right? And so, looking at those multipliers, like spinning, stuff like that, and planning around that, because if you can do a windmill and your plan is to do a windmill, except then you do a cuff windmill and do like a mailman or whatever, like and just add on a couple extra points wherever you can. So that's how I think it'll planning for them will likely change, just looking at the scoring sheet and deciding what to do based on that.
Nice. That's good to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all that being said, I want to kind of transition into content. There are so many insane like dunkers that I've seen, but they're just like not as popular. They don't have as many followers,
Totally. Yeah.
and a lot of the time it's like seeing like the surface level like of like looking at someone's Instagram page and like looking at someone like yours or Dom's or like Isaiah's, whatever. It's like you see like kind of the difference. So there's like a lot of little things in there that they could do better so that they can be put out there and be able to like they can be seen, and then people could sponsor them, email them, whatever, go into a dunk contest, whatever it is. So I want to talk to you about that. First thing is, how did you start working with Dennis Yu?
Yeah, so fun fact about Dennis, which I don't know if it's shared many places, but Dennis has lost like 40 to 50 pounds within the last 2 years, all from playing trampoline basketball. It's like that was his weight loss method. It's amazing. I love it so much. Like, and
Valid.
it's not like, like if I just imagine myself, like if I gained like 100 pounds or something like that, I wouldn't want to go run on a treadmill. Like that's not motivating at all. But when you're doing something like dunking, which is super like goal driven, like there's always a next thing. Like, okay, you got your first dunk. Now do a two-hander. Now do a Dwight tap. Now do a 360. Like stuff like that is great. So I'm super happy that he found that. And through that, he's been able to get involved with the dunk community. So he's following like all these dunkers and he knows all them. And one day I was just talking to him about, trampoline dunking. And he was just like, come out to Vegas and we'll do like the trampoline dunks. And I was like, I don't really know you, bro. Like, I don't know, right? So, but when I did go out to Vegas for the Dunkademics dunk session, which was, I forgot to mention that in my timeline, but whatever. Totally irrelevant to Dennis. I was like, oh, I'm going to Vegas. Might as well have this guy come out to the session, right? And so he came to the session, watched us and stuff, and then afterwards, us and some of the other guys went to the trampoline park and dunked. So that was kind of where I met him. And after that, I did some research on him because, quite honestly, I just didn't know who he was. And it turns out Dennis was one of the first search engine engineers at Yahoo. So he knows how search engines work, and that is obviously very valuable. He did a lot of stuff with American Airlines. He did ads for Nike, the Golden State Warriors, Starbucks, Quiznos, like all these huge brands that continues to go on, but I can't remember all of them right now. But right now, he has a company called Blitzmetrics, which does a lot of different things, actually. But the biggest one is like ads and all this stuff for like local service businesses, and personal branding as well. So that's kind of where I come in. And yeah, I was working kind of like indirectly with him, helping other dunkers, doing stuff just for fun up until last month. And then I actually told him like, I need a job for the summer. So like, how about we do this together and just start doing this? So since then, I've got to speak at conferences on digital marketing with him. I've learned a ton from him. He's been a great mentor, helped me with my personal branding a lot. And through that, I've been able to, do one-on-one calls with the dunkers. I've I haven't even been charging people. Just been doing it for fun, just because I want to see dunking grow. Helping them get their Google Knowledge panels, get verified on Google, helping them set up personal brand websites with proper internal linking and all that. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I met him. But, yeah.
That's sick, man. Yeah. What's like your vision with that, with seeing like dunkers with their social medias grow?
Yeah, I think one thing that me and Dennis talk about a lot, and I actually filmed a podcast with him a couple days ago, on like a bunch of things that dunkers can do better with their social media and their Google and all that. So I'm very excited for that to come out, because I think that's going to be very valuable. But yeah, one of the biggest things is like the overarching issue is that anybody can make content on social media. Like literally anybody. Like you see like 60-year-old grandmas making Instagram reels. Like it's not difficult at this point. The difficult part is all the other stuff. So, for example, like you mentioned, there's a bunch of little things you got to do on your social media, which I've talked about a few times, but like, putting your email in your bio and making yourself easily reachable and all that stuff. And this is all accelerated with the use of AI tools. And so you can just paste your Instagram username or your profile URL into ChatGPT and just ask it like, hey, please do an SEO audit or a audit on my social media and tell me what I can do better. And it'll give you like actionable steps that you can take. And so, yeah, the biggest thing I think though is many dunkers do decent on social media. Like I know you mentioned that a lot of them don't do great on social media, which I completely agree with, but I'd say the bigger issue is not being visible on Google. If you search Donovan Hawkins on Google, you'll just see instant results. Like it'll be like his Instagram, some videos he's been in, stuff like that. Whereas if you search up my name on Google, who is not as good of a dunker, not as popular, you'll see a full Google Knowledge panel, which just signals that I'm credible and verified by Google. And that's a very easy process to go through. Google makes it completely free. And so, yeah, I guess my vision for it is just to help other dunkers, one, organize their social media in a way that makes sense and a way that, links back to each other so that Google can identify that as like the centralized entity. And it's not like a bunch of scattered random things with different usernames, different names, all that. It's all the same. Posting, different content, obviously, per platform. And then getting a personal brand website where they can post blog posts. Because if you search up, like, what are Donovan Hawkins' top 5 dunks? Google AI doesn't know. But if we can put out, blog posts and stuff where Donovan talks about those things, I've started to put out blog posts on all the experiences that I do and all the events that I do. Now, that history is like out there in text form, because when you post things, your experiences on social media, it just gets locked in there and it never comes out. And so sharing those in the form of text is extremely important, and it's not being done. So yeah, those are the first 2 steps. And then after that, Google will eventually recognize, you as an entity with a confidence score and all this stuff. You can claim your knowledge panel, and then from there, manage everything. So that's kind of my vision. Just get every dunker, more visible and credible on Google. And I think that, when each individual dunker in the community is growing their personal thing, it elevates dunking as a sport. So, yeah.
Doc, that's awesome, man. Jayden, you had something to say? If he is there. Real quick before just Jayden comes back. No, I think all that stuff, it's really cool to see, like, especially with your media channel. Like, I saw that and I saw like how many views you're getting. I was like, dude, there's not enough people that know about this stuff. So
yeah, I should probably be promoting it more. I know that was kind of a rant there, but I just kind of wanted to explain everything, because I don't really know if I've explained everything that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, man, we'll definitely get more into it. But yeah, I think it's all really cool. I think it's like a lot of I think with some people in this community, it's important that we do something, whatever we can do, whatever is meant for us, that to help this community grow. So I think that's very important. I think it's really cool what you're doing, and I think more people should know about what you're trying to do and how you're trying to have an impact, and how you're trying to help everyone grow and make it become just more of a thing. People know about it more. People know about what these guys can do. Especially like I said, some of the guys who are insane at dunking, but they're just not seen as much. You know,
Visible,
it's
yeah.
like people. Yeah, exactly. It would be really cool for people to see more of that. So it's awesome what you're doing. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and let's see there's just one thing that I also have trouble with, specifically with shorts, because me personally, I want to know your opinion on this because I think there's a lot of like shorts that I'll see, in the dunking community mostly, that's like, to me it seems really silly, you know, like for example, like this one's not as bad, but like stuff like, oh, me dunking at 13 and then it's like them at 13 and then me dunking at 14 and it's like them now. So it's like
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like I want to know what your opinion on stuff like that is, and also like just how do you get like those ideas for posting? What type of posts are there? Because I know there's types like that, but like tell me about all the different things you know about that, about ideas and stuff.
yeah. I was actually talking about to Jordan about that this morning because um, there's there's a there is a time and place for posts like that, like the joking posts. When I post things like that, I try to make it as blatantly obvious and dumb as possible, so that it's not like I'm lying or trying to
Yeah,
deceive people. So that's one important thing.
yeah, hundred
But
percent.
aside from that, yeah, I would say you want to definitely have a balance between those dumb posts that have a chance of going viral and bringing attention to you, but also your actual dunks, your actual progress. Like I would say one of the people that I look to the most for ideas is Travis Reynolds, Travis Dunks. He has really, really good content that does well. He's got the progress posts, he's got the actual dunks, and so he kind of brings people in with these like joking videos, and then they follow him, they join him, and then from there they see like his carousel posts and like his actual content, and then he posts progress posts and stuff like that, some educational content here and there on YouTube. So yeah, I would say the biggest thing though is that you want your homepage, like your actual central, what is it called, profile grid on Instagram, like the first thing that people see when they come to your thing, to look very good and represent who you want to be as your personal brand. And so what I always do, if I do those like dumber posts or just even posts that are just not as high quality, like if I do a dunk that I've done 100 times and it's not as good as some of the other ones, I'll post it, but I'll just say post to Reels grid only, or I'll remove it from profile grid. And so I keep like I have thousands of posts on Instagram, but if you look at my Instagram, it only says like 300 or 400 or something like that. That's because a ton of that stuff is stored in the section over, which is the Reels grid. And so I would say, yeah, definitely try to post, as high quality and as good of content as you can as often as possible, but then you can always remove it. It is important to note that you can always bring it back as well if you like do something on accident. So that's kind of how I organize it.
Yeah, that's sick. I actually haven't heard about that one. That one's actually really good to know.
Yes, lesser known thing.
And yeah, it reminds me too. It also goes into like reposting because I see Travis repost that one with like the Clash Royale sound of him, like when he was like when he was fat, he was just grabbing the rim and then him dunking and
That's so
then
funny.
now him now, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him reposting that. How important do you think that is? Because I see you do that too with like the one where you were at the trampoline park with your girlfriend, and then the one where you're at the NBA court, trying to dunk at the free throw line, like stuff like that. Like, how
I
important
wish
do you
I
think that
made
is?
that, man. That was so stupid. Now when they do that thing, I don't think I've talked about this either. Now when they like let kids go and shoot free throws, they put like a net up in front of it, so you like couldn't even do that anymore
Really?
because that video went like crazy viral.
It's so
But
whack.
that's so funny. But yeah, as for reposting stuff, the algorithm. Well, I don't know. Jordan tells me that the algorithm can pick up if you're reposting something and they're like not going to prioritize it. I don't really think that's entirely true because I've posted the same, like my top 2 videos on YouTube are the same video. And so I don't really think that that's entirely true. But yeah, I would say aside from like reposting, I would say the biggest thing you want to do is like see what went well. So like when me and Brooke went to Sky Zone and like made that one video that got reposted, on all these big platforms and went viral and all that, went and did it again, So that's kind of like the thing is the things that do well, you just want to continue to do them over and over again and, make slight changes so it's not the exact same. But yeah, occasionally I do post, same thing multiple times, just make sure it's spread out a bit and, that is one of those instances where if I posted something for a second time, I would just remove it from my main grid and, you know, let it go out into the algorithm, but not necessarily be a priority on my account.
All right. Yeah. Cool. You, Darshil, you have any questions to ask?
Yeah. So I'm pretty much on that kind of sphere of things where I'm on my social media for Instagram and I guess TikTok right now too, but I'm also on LinkedIn. And I was actually curious because I also saw you on there, and
Hmm.
I was just wondering what made you want to leverage your right now predominantly pro dunking persona into LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think, as all of us, make content, we're bringing attention to ourselves, but, there's a lot more to Darshil than just dunking, right? There's a lot more to Dylan than just dunking. Like, we do other things. And obviously, dunking, I have visions for it becoming a full-time thing for a lot of people, but right now it's simply not the case. And so, like you said, just leveraging, what I already have, like all those views and all this experience in these contests and events and all that, leveraging that into, the business side of things where, I can sell services and, do consulting or whatever I decide to do. I haven't really, done much of that yet, but yeah. And recently, I've been going to these conferences with Dennis and meeting these people, making connections. And so, everyone wants to do Instagram, TikTok, they want that attention. But in my opinion, like the most valuable platforms, well, honestly, the most valuable platform in my opinion is YouTube. Posting long form content is long form content is insanely underrated. And just more people got to be doing it. Insane repurposing power as well, because you can take the transcripts from what you're doing and turn them into blog posts using AI and stuff like that. But yeah, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, like those are the ones where the money is, honestly. Instagram doesn't pay too much. TikTok does pay, but you just want to have everything, honestly. Even if you don't post on it, you want to claim your name on everything and have it all linked together properly. Yeah, I explained that horribly, but you get the point.
Nah, you explained that pretty well. I guess just to go a little bit deeper on that. So I know people that are kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm more so I strictly just talk about more of my like software engineering stuff that I do on LinkedIn. I know someone like Shunker Iyer, for example, also just puts his stuff there. But like if you're on like a more traditional career path, would it be conducive to like I guess put anything related to dunking on there, or like any podcast or anything that that you're on? Or yeah, that's I guess my question.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I personally haven't really posted anything from dunking. I might, on some social medias and stuff, it does say that I'm a professional dunker. I wouldn't say I'm a professional dunker, but um, like you could have stuff like that. Like on my LinkedIn, if you look in like my experience or my job experience or whatever, it says like host of the Dunk Talk podcast and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, everything you do is building skills, and LinkedIn is really a place for you to manage your skills and like your experience and stuff like that. And so I do put things on there like, public speaking, which I'm not great at, but getting better at. Podcasting, video editing, Instagram, TikTok, ads, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I would say it's totally worth, leveraging the skills you had. As for posting on LinkedIn, I haven't posted any dunks on LinkedIn. I don't know, like, if that's, you know, a good
I don't
idea or not. So
I
I
think
don't really know.
like usually the way I see it, it's actually interesting because I've been on the platform for a few years now, and it's in some cases, depending on where you're at in your career, like if you're still, I guess, in your college years of sorts, you kind of can get away with more satirical posts or posts that aren't necessarily related to your professional experience in your field, but you can still interrelate anything that you're doing outside of it. So like your hobbies and stuff. So
Yeah.
there's definitely like a way to do it. You just, I guess, like you can't be direct in terms of just straight up posting dunks on there, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to relate. Yeah. Honestly, it sounds like you know more about it than me. I've only been on it for a couple months, but yeah, I'll definitely have to experiment with, posting all areas of my life. Because going back to what I was talking about earlier with your personal brand, like, there's a lot more to us than just one aspect of our lives. So yeah, I would say big advocate for, sharing and connecting everything you do, because that, makes it feel genuine. That helps people build a connection, and will overall, just help you succeed more. So yeah, totally agree. Definitely, yeah. When I was really young, or I don't even want to say really young, but when I was like getting into basketball specifically, because I got into basketball before I got into dunking, it was like Michael Jordan, NBA guys. I want to say like 10 or 11. I guess that's not really late, but I guess a lot of people that are really good at basketball start a little bit earlier than that. Yeah, so I started with that, and that kind of got me into like practicing basketball. Except when I practiced basketball, it wasn't really practicing basketball. It was more of just going out and messing around on low rims. And so later on, I I wanted to be a YouTuber when I was really young for sure. Like I was inspired by a lot of those guys like Jesser, Tristan Jazz, stuff like that. And I was in, I don't really know if it was a community, but there was a lot of these small YouTubers that were like all like commenting on each other's stuff, and it was all like in the sports realm of things, and I kind of got involved in that, and I saw somebody that was like, in that kind of space made a video saying like some big YouTuber's name like 100,000 times or something like that. Like it was like a 24-hour thing. They're just saying like their name 100,000 times, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Like whatever. Except I didn't do it 100,000 times. I just did it 10,000 times because I'm not doing 100,000. And so this is like ridiculously stupid. But I reached out to a bunch of these big basketball creators, and one of them was Jordan Kilganon. And this is gonna hurt Jordan's ego a little bit, but I didn't even know who he was when I reached out to him. Like I just like sent this mass message to a bunch of like people, and he was the only one that responded. And so it was like in exchange for a shout out on his YouTube video or whatever. So I hopped on a live stream and said Jordan Kilganon 10,000 times. It's still up on YouTube. It was kind of stupid, but at the same time, I built that connection. So like that is someone who has helped me so much. And after he responded to me, we literally like, he just became like my mentor since I was like 12, 13 years old, which is just so ridiculous. He probably felt bad for me. He thought I was like special or something going on the live stream and doing that. But no, yeah, it's kind of a cool cycle because he helped me get my first dunk. He helped me just do a bunch of stuff, and now I'm helping him with his digital marketing, which is funny. So he was a big one for sure. He was probably the biggest one. Yeah, I didn't even know what professional dunking was until I saw him, and he kind of helped me realize that that's like what I actually enjoyed over basketball. So yeah. Like I saw his things like when he responded to me, and then I really dove deep into like who he actually was because I was like, I don't even know who this is, and now I gotta say his name 10,000 times. So I looked at his stuff and kind of realized like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I just went to him for help anytime I needed help, and he helped me. So he's a great dude.
Do you mind sending me that? No. I want to put that in the description. I want everyone to see that.
Yeah, I'll send you it after. It's so dumb, but yeah. He was like in the live stream the whole time talking to
really?
Me. So it's so funny.
That's sick. Probably driving, just listen to his name. We said 100,000 times or 10,000 times. That's
definitely ego boost. Someone spends 3 hours doing that. It's crazy.
Dude, that's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, back to what we were talking about with content. So I want to ask you, what are the main things you see dunkers on social media that they aren't doing? Like 3 to 5 like main things that they're not doing.
Well, I guess you're talking more so like because I think in terms of like exposure, I think you've already talked about that, Dylan, but you're asking more so Juan in terms of like the actual content itself, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Just like the general.
I wanted to clarify the question there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is more of like a profile organization thing, but like I mentioned earlier, removing the posts that are dumb, basically. Not deleting them because they do have a place in making you go viral, but they're not as important. And then another thing I mentioned earlier is having an email in your bio. Can't stress that enough. Like, if a lot of brands simply won't communicate through DMs, I personally would rather communicate through DMs. It's easier, but you have to have an email that you manage in your bio and actually check it because that's where the real opportunities are going to come in.
I guess with that email, right? I think this is told to me by someone else for some other social media. I don't know if it was LinkedIn or something like that, but it's preferable. Like You could, of course, just put your personal email there, but it is preferable if you can to have an email that's a little more associated with work so that number one, it better processes things that you're
Hmm.
doing in terms of like any collaborators you have, any ad people or whatever that you're talking to. I don't personally have that, so I can't exactly speak to that right now, but I
Hmm.
do technically have like a work email that I have right now. I just probably should also put that on my Instagram as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have like 20 Gmail accounts that I use for all different things, but yeah, I don't even use most of them. It's kind of stupid, but um, I've started so many YouTube channels that I don't even know. But yeah, I would say definitely have one that is specifically for like your social media persona, whatever. Yeah. And as for other things, I would say a lot of people overdo their editing a lot and they think about it too much. Um, Good example of this is like, you'll see guys like try to like zoom in and do like really slow motion and stuff like that. And people just don't have the attention span for a lot of that stuff. Like if you can come out and just shock them with a dunk like that, it works a lot better sometimes. Like you'll see super low quality videos go viral on Instagram just because they're straight to the point and whatever.
Would you be able to give us some examples of that? Like some quick examples?
Yeah, I mean, like if you see like the one Finn posted recently, it was like the Snapchat thing where it has like that text in like the black line or whatever, and it said like "these white boys evolving" or something like that. It's just like something stupid. Like that video
Yeah,
took
that's
zero
funny.
time to edit, obviously, and he just posted it, and it got like 10 million views on TikTok. And so,
Yeah.
just stuff like that. It's
10
like
million on TikTok?
it might have been like 7 million or something like that, but yeah, it went crazy viral.
Jesus.
And so yeah, that's one big thing. And
I think um there's like a certain component. I don't remember exactly about it, and I feel like someone like Dennis might know a little bit more about it, but
probably yeah.
there is such a thing where I think Instagram does also pick up on the fact of if you're editing so much stuff on it, a lot of the times it's actually a negative in terms of the algorithm. Like I think it has like something to do with the fact that typically when you have content that you then just put on Instagram, it already compresses from where you already compressing your editing stuff, just leading
Hmm.
to just worse quality in general that you're getting. Incidentally, I guess speaking on my experience at least with what's gotten me the most viral, it's actually interesting for me because I'm not sure exactly what got me viral in some cases. In But a lot of the cases that I see at least, for some reason at this point in time, it's just a lot more of the either A, satirical posts or B, a little bit more
Yeah,
joke-like
there you go.
posts.
Totally.
But I've had some. I think there's one that I did November of last year and then one at the SoCal Dunker session. Both of those went viral, which I'm not sure how it happened, especially because the November one had like a weird growth curve to it in the sense where it was good, like the growth was good, like I guess expected to what my profile was performing at that point, and then it just randomly blew up. And I've never
Hmm.
seen that kind of weird curve of growth. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. It's weird, but I totally agree with you with the, satire, joking posts. Those definitely have high potential as well. But a big one that I forgot to mention, but obviously will now, is things that are like thought provoking and comment provoking. So comments are worth comments and shares are worth way more than likes. Like I've had posts that did decently well and they got a bunch of likes, but they got zero comments, and so then their growth was like stunted from there. Whereas posts like the one that did really well on the NBA court, where I like threw the ball off the backboard on a free throw and tried to dunk it, said like, oh, 15-year-old tries to dunk on NBA court or whatever like that. Tons of people flew to the comments and they were like, that is not a 10-foot rim. Like, even though it's like, on an NBA court. So like, I don't even know how you come to that conclusion. But they, pointed out that there was a ladder in the back, and they were like, the ladder has 8 rungs, and that means it's 8 feet tall, and the hoop is level with the ladder. Just like making things up. So all these people just arguing. So if you can get people, especially dumb people, to argue for a long period of time on Instagram comments, you have a very high potential of going viral. And so sometimes I'll purposely reply to comments and just say something just to like piss them off and get them to go crazy for a while. Comments are worth so much. So
Honestly,
Have you ever tried, real quick, have you ever tried pinning a hate comment? Because I think I've seen that before.
I haven't
Like,
tried
depending on
it,
how like
but I
stupid the
have.
comment is.
I haven't seen it. I haven't tried it. Sorry, but yes, I have seen it. And I mean, thinking about what I just said, it would make sense because then even more people are seeing it and hopefully interacting with it. So I'll definitely have to try that out next time. It's a good idea, actually.
I think
And
it
as for
definitely.
you, Darshil, I do remember your post. You like
Yeah,
said something about your vertical or something like that, and a bunch of people got pissed. So that's another good example of like, you say something and people just flood to the comments. So
I've been a little bit more
yeah,
careful about that after that post.
I mean, you know, good and bad because once again, you got a ton of people coming in the comments. So that is, good use of free
But
will.
but I mean, it does speak like cause I do exactly agree with that. That like good like if you have like a good amount of shares and comments, you're more likely to have like a total better engagement, like higher viewership than compared to if you had like a high like ratio to other stuff. So I've seen that as well in terms of anything that's
Totally.
performed really well. That I think shares more than comments in some cases. It really depends on what you're exactly posting and
Hmm.
I guess how polarizing the actual content of the video is.
Yeah. A good example actually is Miles McDeasy. I don't know if you all know him, but he
Yeah.
just posted a video on TikTok where he basically Miles's content is great, by the way. If you're looking like to make great content, make content like Miles. Like it's super engaging. It's got like the loop effect to it, and you know, he has like over 2 million subscribers on YouTube by doing that, and so it's very effective on YouTube, but it's effective on every platform. And he recently posted something on TikTok, which the hook was like, no one even cares about their viewers anymore. Blah 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 blah. Like I'll be replying to every comment on this video, and then it has like 200,000 comments on that video. Like absolutely insane. So just another example of asking for comments and then getting a viral video, and it has even more likes than comments. So it's pretty insane. Actually, maybe not,
Yeah.
but either way, it has crazy engagement.
Yeah. Sick, man. And so like I imagine the key words too, especially, or like numbers technically, because like the one you just said you tried to dunk on the NBA court. You saying you were 15 probably triggered something as well. I imagine because like it's not something they want to believe at first, especially like like the general, what do you call it, like the mass people, like
Totally,
most
yeah,
people, like they don't want to believe that at first. So I imagine, like, what's your opinion on that, like using keywords like that?
yeah. I mean, I've started to do it less now, um, because I feel like once I hit 17, people stop considering it as impressive, which
Mm-hmm.
is partially true, but at the same time, it's like if you're in high school, you don't really know that many people that
Yeah.
can dunk, so it's kind of dumb. But I would say just use any advantage you have. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
Dom uses like five
Yeah.
eight Filipino. Like the fact that
Exactly.
he's
Yeah.
Filipino doesn't really have anything to do with the fact that he's dunking, but one, it gets all these other Filipino people who relate to him to come and follow him. So like,
Mm-hmm.
he has a bunch of Filipino followers. Great use of keywords. But at the same time, it also pisses some people off for whatever reason, and so then that's leading to more engagement. So you never know. Like just any advantage that you have, any traits that you have, use it.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's the same with me, 5'6" Indian. So
Yeah.
I know
The one
that
thing I will never do is say the white boy stuff. I feel
yeah,
like that has
it's
more negatives than positives, but I do see why people do it, I guess.
but I think even for like when I've done like 5'6" Indian, like that's gone a lot of like or not a lot, but at least a couple of people who are same race as me, or at least like maybe
Totally, yeah.
same height or maybe a little higher than me. But I've had comments, I've had negative comments before where it's like, why do these Indians think that they can dunk?
Ah, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying, and I'm not encouraging of those comments. I'm just saying like getting them isn't necessarily bad. Like you're not. It's unfortunate you're not really ever going to be able to change those people, so you just have to kind of
Yeah.
play with them and like use them for engagement, basically. Like so, Yeah, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like once you get a few videos that do really well, and you see the influx of stupid people come in and comment stupid things, then you get used to it, and then you can just ignore them and remember like, oh, like thank you, moron, for helping this video go crazy
That's
viral. So that's really all it is. So
that's how it is. Do you see more of those? Is it just me, or do I see more of those people on TikTok?
Really?
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I
He's
I
like,
feel like Instagram people have less of a filter for sure.
yeah, like,
Okay, yeah, no, you're true
yeah,
about that. True about that.
like the general, like, I guess, just a little off topic for like a few seconds, I guess. Like, I mean, the general like real demographic that you're gonna see on Instagram is it's some of the most cursed stuff
Very
sometimes.
wide. Yeah.
Yeah, it
There's a
I like I
lot of different people on Instagram.
like there will be people on TikTok that are, I guess, not great, pretty negative. But I guess like the level like of negativity that I've seen on TikTok is just less than Instagram in my opinion, at
Yeah.
least from what I've
I think
seen.
TikTok regulates it more as well. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's true, but I think I get the most amount of dumb comments on Facebook. So I encourage all of you to do this, by the way. I have a Facebook page that is directly linked to my Instagram. So every time I post
Yeah.
anything on Instagram, it cross posts to
Yeah.
Facebook. Definitely worth setting up
100%.
if you haven't. But yeah, that age demographic is like 40 to 70. And I'll get like old men like direct messaging me. I was just looking at one this morning. He's like, "We don't want to see this anymore." Like every month he texts me like something new. He's like, "Someone trying to be LeBron James? No one cares." Like, bro, do you have nothing? But at the same time, I mean, I kind of understand it because, if you're that
Oh
old,
my
he might
god.
think I'm like sending him the videos I post. Like, I don't know. Some
Oh,
people just
okay.
get confused. So, Facebook is a if you want to go viral, I mean, go engagement farm on Facebook. Honestly, I haven't really even purposefully played around with that, but I think it would totally work because those people are different.
That is that is hilarious. That is hilarious. So
That's
on the
funny.
topic of that, of like different platforms, what would you think that? How do I say this? What do you think are your? What is your opinion on using many different platforms, and how do you kind of organize the posting on that? I know you just mentioned like the Instagram and the Facebook, but what about other things like Twitter, TikTok, like YouTube, and how do you kind of manage posting on all that? How do you manage like all the content in general? Because yeah, recently me and like just kind of me, like I've been having struggle with that, especially with my life right now. Like I work a 8 to 5 job. Like I literally wake up early in the morning so I can like do some studying, doing some scripting. Like we just made a like kind of more or less of like a system for that, just to make it easier for me and Darshil, and Jayden, so we can all kind of manage this stuff. So like, tell me about how you kind of manage it and how you work around that.
No, yeah, I totally feel that, bro. And I never had to deal with that for a while because I had school, but then I had nothing. So I'd just go and lift, and then I would just do whatever I had to
Yeah.
do. But now that I've got this job with Dennis, I don't have quite as much time, so I'm dealing with the same thing right now. But I would say the biggest thing, especially with dunking, it's super easy to do this with dunking, is film in 16 by 9, for long form content. Post that long form
Mm-hmm.
content on YouTube. And then repurpose that long form content into short form content, which goes on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube
Yeah.
Shorts, whatever. So TikTok and Instagram, I post, and then as for Facebook, I have the page which is linked to my Instagram, so that's something that's out of the way. And then I have Facebook profile, which is more like personal stuff, and so I just post like, and so I just
Jayden.
post on the profile, I just post like personal, like important things, like if I speak at a conference or if I do an event or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you were unmuted. You're good. Oh,
It's frozen
Jayden. We,
again.
we love Jayden. He belongs here. But go ahead. What were you saying?
And then yeah, as for other platforms like Twitter, X, or stuff like that, I just don't worry about it too much. Just post on it when I feel like it. But the important ones
Mm,
are YouTube long form, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Facebook is out of the picture since if it's linked to your
yeah.
Instagram, and then TikTok as well. And
Okay.
then if you have time,
Go
and
for it.
then podcast is great. I'm a huge advocate
Yeah.
for podcasts, especially with the repurposing power. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone
Of
should
course.
have one if they can.
I feel like this is more of a personal question. um, I'll tend to, I don't know what it is, but it's like, so I want to post informative content, right? Like I have
Hmm.
literally like 4 books right here that I study. Like I don't even study the books, I study the research studies, right? And I want to like learn more about this and especially like go to college for this stuff too. Um, what do you think, like, cuz it's something that's like in the back of my head that tells me like people will criticize you and people will judge you and be like, no, this is not true, or you're saying this wrong. Like this is like not what I've experienced, things like that. So how do you think I should kind of deal with that going like in the future?
Are we talking about like people in real life or like social media
Yeah,
people?
no, 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 just like no, just like on like content. Like I don't really care about people I know, but like more about
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
Because I'm trying to bring out informative content. Like I'm trying to like help people out and learn myself. So how do you think I
No,
should deal
yeah.
with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's just imposter syndrome, isn't it? I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, the biggest thing, bro, is you just have to realize that once again, there's a lot of dumb people on social
yeah,
media.
yeah,
And if you do, like, for example, if you did post a video saying, like, oh, tendons can't get hurt or, just something dumb that you, like, thought was true, and
okay,
then someone, like, proves you wrong or whatever, just take that and just be like, oh, nice. Like, you can delete the video, you can post follow-up video, whatever it may be, and just consider it learning. Like,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, most people, if they're going to criticize you, especially since you're doing the studying, you're doing the work, you're trying to put out informative content, people that criticize you are most of the time just going to be wrong. And so,
okay,
again, just use that as viral fuel, basically. Just helps you.
cool,
I think
cool, cool,
like
cool.
I can kind of speak on this since I think I mean it depends because like you could be put like saying information that isn't necessarily completely accurate. I think prior to me focusing a little bit more on the career path that I'm going in right now, I was a little bit more into exercise science, so I used to know a ton about it. I read some of the books I think Juan has as well right now, but when I got comments or DMs saying that certain things are wrong, a lot of the times I would actually just have like a follow-up story and such because I think there's like a benefit to having transparency in terms of what you're doing. I think that it leads to just like a better audience base that I guess trust you in a sense. So if you're willing to say you're wrong about things and you're willing to grow from that, I think that's pretty that can go really far in terms of where you're at. You can't
Very
because
true.
there comes a point where if you just keep sticking to a point where you're not as transparent, people are going to call you out. And if you're not willing to really respond to that and say that maybe I was wrong about something, then it's only going to get worse in some cases with depending on who gets to that point and such.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense. Yeah, how much of a sponge you are, how much you're willing to learn, how much you're willing to take in. Because a lot, when I start reading these studies, I realize there's so much I don't know, and
Hmm.
like that's what helps is knowing that you are naive to so many things. There's so many things you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So yeah, all right. But back to you. Our last topic is about Christianity because I know you're doing the thing with Dunk Camp with Dom and like I imagine like Hunter. I think Hoop and Nate's part of that too. Um,
Yep.
yeah. So tell me about just like kind of give us a nutshell about your like your journey with that, like just from start to finish when you first like heard about it or got into it, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was born into a Christian household, so I don't have like crazy, crazy story, but I will say, I've been on and off my entire life, basically. I went to church on holidays and stuff like that. Did some of the things, but um, really just was not super consistent. And I reached a point a year or two ago where I had a couple friends that were like super against it, and in the back of my mind, I was like, I do believe this, but like if we're gonna debate this, I got nothing, right? Like, I haven't spent much time in the Word. I haven't spent much time researching the historicity of the Bible and stuff like that. And so I was talking to these guys and I was realizing, like, is this true? Like, I started to question it. And so within the past couple of years, I've really like dove deeper into, honestly, not even the word as much as I should, but just the historicity of the Bible, and like, listening to historians and even the other side. Like, that's one thing that I don't think enough people do enough of, is like, listening to guys like Alex O'Connor and like hearing like,
I just
you know,
yeah, yep.
yeah, no, he's I actually love listening to him.
Dog, yeah, me too, bro. I just
Super
recently found him,
interesting.
and I was like, bro, yeah. Like first,
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
found him. I was like, cause one day I prayed, and I was like, yo, like, what is the truth, right? I wanted to know what the truth was. About like a month later, I see him, and then I start having
Hmm.
doubts, and then I start realizing like, wow, this guy actually knows a lot, and he has like a podcast on this stuff. So yeah, not
No,
hundred
yeah,
percent.
totally.
He's definitely a good source for sure.
Yeah, he does great work, but there is some things where I'm like, bro, like, there's a lot of assumptions, a lot of subjectivity in some of the things,
Yeah,
and so I think that was big for me, is kind of like looking at both sides and like realizing like, yeah, like I do actually believe this, and trying to make sure that this isn't just like, me believing it for whatever reason, like just because I want to or something like that. And then I have a friend, who about halfway through this school year invited me to a youth group, which I had gone to youth group like last year, maybe a little bit even the year before, but it was not that great of a youth group, to be honest. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. It just felt like watered down. It felt like, we just weren't doing anything too crazy. A lot of people there didn't take it seriously. I didn't really take it seriously, so, not blaming them, obviously. But at this place, everyone takes it seriously, and it's just like a very different environment. And yeah, I felt very welcomed into that, so I started going to that on Wednesdays. Started going to a Bible study that the kids throw on Mondays, which is super cool. And I've gotten close to a lot of different people, so yeah, that's been super cool for me. That's where I'm at right now. I will say my biggest issue in my life with Christianity right now is, and just my relationship with God, is just making time for it. Like, there's a lot of things that I do, and I'm still in school and stuff, obviously. So like, I go to school, then I lift, so like I don't get home till 5:30 every day, and then I still have like all this other stuff that I'm pursuing. And obviously I live in a home, so I have to do things for my house, and like I just end up, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna read the Bible tonight, and then I end up staying up till 11, like just editing content, and my brain just goes blank, and then I'm like, oh well, now what do I do? Because I have to wake up at 6:30 tomorrow. Like, is sleep more valuable, or is this more valuable? So I'd say that's where I'm at right now. That's my biggest issue, is just
yeah,
making time for it. I'm to the point now where obviously you cannot prove Christianity, but I'm at a point where I'm very, very confident that, this is true, and this is something that I want to pursue. It's just making time for it. And so getting better about it, doing Wednesdays and stuff like that. But that's where I'm at.
yeah.
Just trying to get more involved, learn more from the actual word instead of just historical accuracy and all that.
100%. I feel like it's very important to form your own kind of, I guess, opinion, but form your own belief is a better word, because it's like, I wouldn't really call myself a Christian, but I still try and pray. I still try and like do all that stuff. And there's, when I see like, when I try and look into it, and especially on YouTube when I don't have time, like I look into like different podcasts and stuff, and people talk about it. Some people can be like more like strongly spoken about it, and like be so confident, like they'll form sentences very well and stuff like that. And it's like, sometimes it seems like a little aggressive at times, and then like you see just all the other people, there's so much bias, there's so much different opinions. It's like, it's so important to like form your own belief on that. And there's, again,
Mm-hmm.
same thing goes with like so much, like the Bible is one big library of books, and there's so much that I don't know, and that many other people don't know. And it's like, at the end of the day, even when we're on our deathbed, we lived our whole lives, there's still mystery, there's still so much question about it, I
Yeah,
imagine.
I think
So
that connects to multiple other things you talked about too, like what Darshil mentioned with, you know, knowing when to admit that you're wrong, basically, knowing when to admit that you don't entirely know about something. I think that's extremely important when it comes to this. And then another thing you mentioned, I'm trying to remember, is I don't even remember the connection I was going to make. There's something else, but yeah.
yeah. But yeah, go ahead, you're good now. Oh no! Right as I say that, it's
No,
awesome.
Jayden.
Like go! Come on, go before I cut that
Come
again.
on, Jayden.
Yes. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you can hear it. Come on, Jayden.
No, man.
I was just gonna say, the dunk camp thing would be cool because I think we'll have like Sutherland and Jay Clark there too, so that would
Yeah,
be really cool.
that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's
So,
awesome. Yeah, that's my one day. Real quick, yeah, just one day. Like when the day I do go to dunk camp, because obviously, like I live in a different state, and it'll be definitely
Where are you
big
guys all
financial.
from, by the way?
I'm from Florida, South Florida.
I'm from California. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Jaden's, I guess if he did cut out, I'm not sure. He's from New York. And I guess I did want to talk about a few things, just some questions I had of myself from, I guess, from my end.
Yeah, let's do
But
it.
I guess, what are your plans, I guess, past high school, if you have any right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit hard just because I'm not entirely sure. Like I have a lot of things that I want to do, but obviously you got to make money, right? So
Yeah.
that's where it's like a little bit difficult. So I'm hoping. Well, I'm not hoping. I'm most likely going to be a professional dunker someday. Um, you know, if my body permits that. So that's one thing, and that's I really like dunking as a sport. Not even just because of all the reasons that I like it, but just because it only takes a few hours a day. So yeah, do you have something, Jayden? Okay, perfect. Yeah, like would I be like a coach and stuff? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm on Jump Master X right now, so that's the. Mhm. Yeah, I do love doing it. So I hope that one day, yeah, that ties into Darshil's question as well. I do hope to one day be, some sort of coach for Jump Master X, even if it's just, being in the group chats and helping with technique and, helping people program and stuff like that. I have written programs and stuff, like I am capable of it, but, I guess I'm not good enough. I would never sell my programming or anything like that. Like I can write a
Yeah.
program. I help, some of my friends write programs, but my brother write programs and stuff like that. But I don't consider myself knowledgeable enough to properly periodize and help people peak for things. So yeah, it is something that I wanted to get into more, learn more about, but probably more of a long term thing, I guess.
Oh
I
no,
think you said
Jayden.
something about my brother. Like what's he like in dunking or? Yeah, my brother does dunk a little bit on low rims. Oh yeah, definitely. So my brother's 15 and like 5'8" or something like that. So he didn't really like I. The one thing is like, people look at me dunking when I'm 13 and they're like, oh, that's insane. But I was a lot more developed than the average 13-year-old, so we should remember that. So he didn't really develop quite as quickly as me, I'd say. But right now he's 15, 5'8". He can touch the rim. Um, but his low rim dunks are pretty crazy. He doesn't share them. He's not he doesn't like social media or specifically like posting on social media, but he's good on low rims. He can do like e-spays behind the backs. He can do like a reverse 360 windmill on like 8 feet. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, as for him, I mean, he's more into like other actual sports. I mean, not that dunking isn't a sport, but not quite where it needs to be. So he's more into the traditional sports like basketball. He played football. I think he might be done now. Questionable. But he's gotten into golf recently, and then he's really just big into. He gets obsessed on things really easily. So like recently, he's been doing like flips and stuff. So he can do like backflips and backflips off one foot. He just did one off a tree and stuff. So yeah, he just does a bunch of random stuff honestly. But his big thing is basketball mainly, I'd say, and lifting. He lifts a lot. No, yeah, I always of course yeah, I always, of course, encourage him to dunk just because I love it and I think he's got potential. But yeah, at the same time, it's mainly just whatever he wants to do. So obviously, just help him with whatever he's trying to do.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah, I'm sorry, Juan. I still have a couple of questions on my
Go
end.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah,
no
so
worries.
given that like I know they use like AI in some sorts in order to help with both the automation of the content that you make as well as the transcription of things, as well as just making I guess the management of services and stuff a lot easier. I actually wanted to ask what like I guess AI model do you tend to use and what use cases do you usually find with them, I guess? So like
Yeah,
I
so
use personally for me, I use like GPT 4.5 with ChatGPT, like with OpenAI stuff.
it's good.
I've
Yeah,
used Gemini sometimes. I've even used Claude a few times as well. But yeah, I wanted to hear what you've used so far.
yeah. Um, I personally really like ChatGPT just because of the memory thing. It has custom instructions, memorize a lot of things you're doing. So I'll literally just have conversations with it just so it can learn about who I am, what I do, and then it can help me or help assist me to reach whatever I'm doing. So that's a big perk of ChatGPT. Also, I don't know if you have it, but I have ChatGPT Plus like through my work, and so that's like the $20 a month paid version, I believe it is.
Yeah, I have it.
Um,
I have it through school for me right now.
yeah, super nice. You get access to creating custom GPTs and stuff like that. And so what we've done for Blitz metrics is like we have all these custom GPTs that all are really good at like specific thing. Like, and we've named them all. So like one of them is an article grader, has access to all the SOPs and stuff like that. And so it just does things really well. So I love that. But right now, what I'm doing quite a bit of is repurposing long form content and transcripts into blog posts. So that's one thing that I do quite a bit. And so I use those custom GPTs. I mainly have been using, what's it called? ChatGPT to do that, but I've realized that Gemini Deep Research, which if you have the paid version of Jennifer, you get infinite deep research credits, which is super nice.
It, that's
I found
nice.
that to be better for
I think
writing
it does like
articles.
it does speak to that because because I researched into like how exactly you train it with the machine learning. Gemini is just a lot better in terms of like trained I guess optimization of words and such. So that's why it would be better for you to be able
Writes
to
a lot
find things
more.
typically
Yeah,
quicker.
ChatGPT takes shortcuts. No, yeah, and it makes sense when you think about it. I mean, these AI platforms are scraping the internet, right? And Gemini is literally Google, so
Yeah, it's
obviously they're going to be good at getting
you're
information.
I think like
Um,
generally speaking, the solutions you get from Gemini are like you're better like putting more like text-based options or like research paper options or anything that you're doing on that compared to ChatGPT. But I
mhm.
mean like I think like certain models I've used, like 4.5 for instance, they've been great in terms of at least getting certain amounts of deep research as well. And
Yeah, yeah, I use both
yeah,
for sure.
a lot of those
I would
models are
say
actually so useful, yeah.
totally, yeah. I would say the biggest thing I use Gemini for is actually just gathering information into, in article format. But then I don't actually post those articles. I run it through the custom GPTs and the other things I have on ChatGPT
That's
because
smart. Because
although Gemini
some
is good at gathering information, I
it's
found
going to generate a lot of hallucinations and stuff.
it's not, I'd say Gemini is actually really good at fact checking compared to ChatGPT, but Gemini, like, it's not as easy to reason with. It's not as, like, user friendly almost. So I like to run it through, the article graders and stuff we have at ChatGPT.
And I think because yeah, like prior to when I was working with certain AI assistants that I have one for myself which I made with someone else. We literally called it the professor, and that thing actually helped a lot in terms of kind of getting better information. And we had to train it to a point where it didn't like generate a lot of like hallucinations or a lot of issues in terms of how we're supposed to use it. So you definitely speak at least
Yes.
somewhat to the usage of assistants. I guess
Hmm.
besides transcribing, what have you found, I guess, LLMs to or large language models like ChatGPT to be, I guess, useful for?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that I do and what I encourage a lot of people to do is talk to it instead of type with it. And I don't even talk about it in the voice mode, like where it converses back with you, but just like talk. Like I reason very well with my voice, whereas like if I'm typing things, like I leave things out just because I'm lazy or whatever. But if I can just sit here and hit the audio thing and just like talk about all the things I want to do, then I can easily like, turn that transcript of what I just talked about into like a list of things I need to do. Um, I use it for like replying to emails and stuff like that, processing large amounts of information because, you know, or even like if I like sometimes Dennis will send me like these training videos that I like have to watch that are like super long, and I watch them, but obviously I'm gonna miss some things, and so I go back and I transcribe it, and use the AI to process it so I can fully understand it. And then from there, I can take, you know, the AI knows about the video now. And so then I can use it to like, you know, make subtopics of things that I can make videos on and talk about so that I can share it with like my media channel and document the things I do, which can then again be repurposed in many ways. So yeah.
I think, yeah, that's definitely useful. I think just like being able to discuss with things, go with the ideas of things, constantly like get to a point where there's a common consensus that you're generating. I think there was something like you talked about a little while back, which is, I guess, eventually having something to do with the scoring system and using AI for it. I guess just speaking to it on personal usage for it, 'cause I've worked with, I guess, machine learning engineers before for it. It's gonna take a while. Like from what I know at least, the amount of
For which thing are you talking about?
like basically generating a AI model that accurately does scoring for dunking based off of, I guess, the
Oh
World Dunk
yeah,
Association is
yeah.
gonna.
I was mainly talking about like using the spreadsheet they already have and just like input dunk instead of like manually clicking everything. So,
Okay,
but
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
because
we
it's
would be
like
able to train it with the information that's already out there. But yeah, it would be. Yeah,
it's
if you ask ChatGPT to like, you know, create a video of me doing a between the legs dunk, it'll just have you like, you know, morphing like through your body and then eventually going under the rim, and it's really bad at that. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
my
like
experience with AI generated videos has been horrible.
it's
Nothing I can
it's
use.
it takes like it takes so much work just to get like image classification to work. Like I've generated a simple automated like self-driving car for like a track that took like close to around 10,000 images just to get a simple like 20-foot track to go. Like if we're getting like more
Bro.
like complicated things, the training data for it can go in the hundred thousands and such, and then the accuracy of it is you don't want to talk about it from there, right? Because then you have to keep training it over and over again, and
No,
yeah,
and then you get close and you're like, oh, you know, this next one's gonna work, and then it'll go backwards, and it's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, it's the video generation is not quite there yet. Because when I first learned about it, I was like, oh, like I'm gonna post a video of me doing a 360 double East Bay just as a joke, and you know, just see how people react. But couldn't even get it to be me. It was just like kept making like some NBA guy. I don't even know. It's not good, but yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to interrupt me. But yeah, Dylan, thank you so much for being on the podcast and providing value to us and the dunk community. We will have his socials in the description and some of his videos to hear about like his story and stuff, and especially that him saying Jordan Kilganon 10,000 times. I would want the whole world to
Oh
hear that
man.
one. But yeah, thank you again. If you guys are watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, please give us 5 stars. And yeah, if you haven't checked out our last podcast, check that one out. Yeah, thank you again, Dylan, for being on the podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
See you guys.
peace, guys.